I've been looking for a way out. I'm sick of feeling like I'm way down, stuck in the middle of a large crowd. I just gotta fight and climb.
He's all banged up now because of all his surgeries. And
yeah.
He did some pro wrestling too, which is not so good on the back either. You know, Don Frye was amazing.
I've had this fight since the beginning. Got a mind with no limits, but sometimes I forget it. Look at myself in the mirror, I just wanna see clearer. I can feel a little angst, I'm sick of my life, I just wanna make a change. The world is calling my name, I'm a little afraid, but I need to...
Imagine you are a martial artist during the late 90s and are scheduled to face an American judo specialist on whom you don't have much information. You'd enter the octagon, and the first thing you'd notice across the cage is a terrifying guy with the stare of a natural predator looking at you, his next prey. He is jacked from top to bottom, with a nightmare-inducing mustache, and his eyes are burning a hole through you like you are his teenage daughter's boyfriend. Meet Don Frye.
When I step into the octagon, my opponent will become my prey.
The most savage, fearless, and brutal fighter that ever competed in this sport. Frye is the true definition of what a strong American type used to be.
How about that Oriental guy and the fireman holding each other, bang, 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 bang.
Oh,
bang.
yeah, Takayama and Don Frye.
Don Frye
the Predator
was one.
Frye.
If he could move,
he was one of the toughest men that's ever lived.
Wow.
Who was proudly representing his country across the ocean, carrying the American flag wherever he went. His intimidating look, aggressive approach, and the brutality he preferred in the fights, combined with his superior cardio and toughness, made Don Frye one of the best martial artists of his time. He made it his goal to terrorize the UFC and Pride scene for years. We will look into who Don Frye is and how he became one of the most respected martial artists ever. Don Frye started as a wrestler and was introduced to this lethal martial art at Buena High School in Sierra Vista, Arizona. He continued wrestling in college for Arizona State University, and as iron sharpens iron, he was trained by the legendary UFC pioneer Dan Severn. During an Olympic qualifier in 1987, the Predator won the Greco-Roman and freestyle wrestling events.
Do not do that. I'll tell you what, folks, we have 52,228 people here.
A year later, he moved to Oklahoma State University and met the future UFC champion, Randy Couture. After college, wrestling seemed not to satisfy Frye's appetite anymore. Hence, he started training in boxing for a year and a half before making his professional debut on August 28, 1989, in Phoenix, Arizona. Boxing is widely considered the most complex sport in the world, and all Don Frye needed was less than 2 years of training to transition to this sport. In his boxing debut, he dismantled his first opponent, Luis Mora, via first-round knockout, and his next opponent, Troy Baudouin, met the same fate, being knocked out by the Predator. After fighting 7 more times over the next 14 months, he retired from boxing and became an emergency medical technician and a firefighter in Bisbee, Arizona. Looking from today's perspective, maybe Stipe Miocic took Frye as a role model and decided to simultaneously be a firefighter and the baddest man on the planet. Frye was never joking around, regardless of what he was doing in his life. While working in a psychiatric ward, he broke a patient's arm while restraining him and left that position for obvious reasons. During this time, he started training in judo and shortly earned the second Dan black belt rank. All that experience in wrestling, boxing, and judo turned Frye into a complete martial artist, a trained killer eager to fight anyone. In 1995, Don Frye helped his mentor, Dan Severn, to train for the Ultimate 1995 MMA event.
There's that wrestling background, they're tying up.
Severn with the weight advantage. Severn black trunks. Shamrock in the lavender trunks.
Accompanying his entourage to Denver. Watching his former mentor compete made Frye consider transiting to MMA, and sure enough, he joined the Ultimate Fighting Championship the following year. Don Frye made his MMA debut on February 16, 1996 in the UFC 8 tournament. Now, one thing that modern MMA fans would find surprising is that, at that time, a fighter could have multiple fights in one night. An average UFC fighter today has 2 to 3 fights a year. However, in 1996, when Frye made his UFC debut, he fought 3 times in a matter of hours. His first opponent was Thomas Ramirez. Don entered the bout aggressively and knocked Thomas out in 8 seconds.
And Frye knocks down Ramirez, and that is it. It's over. Ramirez got
scoring one of the fastest knockouts in UFC history. Winning spectacularly without taking any damage allowed the Predator to enter his second bout that night fresh and active. He fought Sam Adkins next, and this time Frye had a different approach, using his wrestling credentials to take Adkins down and finish him with brutal ground-and-pound strikes.
Wow!
It took only 48 seconds for Don to end that fight. In the final, he faced the very dangerous Gary Goodridge. Although Goodridge fought well and even took Frye's back at one point, the American prevailed, got the top position.
Something that worked against him.
There goes the mouthpiece from Goodridge's mouth, I believe.
Теперь Гудридж получает удары по голове. Он должен выбираться. Да, но ситуация не в его пользу.
And forced Gary to tap due to strikes.
Всё. Фрай, все, бой окончен. Дон Фрай выигрывает.
While making a statement by dominating all 3 opponents on the same night, Frye became the UFC 8 tournament winner.
And what was your favorite memory of fighting for Pride?
Probably the knockout with Don Frye at the end of it. You know, I really enjoyed that.
3 months later, Don clashed against Amori Battetti.
Don Frye, the returning Ultimate Fighting Champion. I'm returning tonight to retain my title. There can be only one.
Both fighters were eager to display their wrestling capabilities, but Frye's boxing made the difference this time.
This domination by Frye here is total domination. Total.
After delivering nasty knees, the Predator took Battetti down and finished him with knees and punches. After successfully winning the UFC 8, Frye took part in the UFC 10 tournament with the same goal to run through everyone they'll put in front of him.
I'm Don Frye, the Ultimate Fighting Champion. I come to Tokyo to claim my birthright.
His first opponent was Mark Hall. Don secured a takedown and repeatedly attacked Mark's body with punches. After delivering shots to his liver for about 10 minutes, the referee John McCarthy was forced to stop the fight. Frye was always the aggressive fighter and always entered a bout determined to finish his opponent.
He's a tough guy, you know. Don Frye's a real tough guy. He's a champion fighter, and you know, it's my second time to fight him. First time I lost, and I remember he was very tough last time too. He's just a tough fighter.
The next on the list was Brian Johnston, who could not withstand Don's constant pressure and tapped to strikes after receiving a heavy punishment from side control.
Watch that knee. Watch Johnston's knee. Yeah.
Tapped out.
Вот, постучали. 4 минуты 37 секунд.
In the tournament's final, the Predator fought the relatively unknown at that time, Mark Coleman. Although Frye was the favorite to win, the young Coleman proved to be the superior wrestler. And caused Don his first MMA loss.
Оба участника боя измотались. Время идет к 15-минутной отметке. Ну и все. Большой Джон Маккарти.
He quickly returned to action in a rematch against Mark Hall.
Who was the most powerful fighter you were ever in there against?
Oh, geez. Gotta be Mark Coleman without question. You know, Coleman is just a freaking animal. Just an animal.
And once again proved to be the superior fighter, beating Hall via forearm choke this time.
World champion. I was stoked. I was stoked when I beat Don Frye, toughest guy I ever fought in my life. I would have had to kill him before he quit.
The following month, Frye participated in the Ultimate 96 tournament and was scheduled to face Gary Goodridge in a rematch. Considering how well-rounded the American is, this fight was similar to their initial bout, and Gary was forced to give up due to the overwhelming pressure and beating that Don put on him. Frye faced Mark Hall for a third time, and he made it look easy this time. The American needed only 20 seconds this time to secure an Achilles lock submission and end the bout early. There was a lot of controversy around this victory. After the tournament, speculation was raised that this fight was fixed, considering that both fighters were managed by Robert DePersia.
It's an honor to fight him. He's a champion, and it's an honor to fight him. And I think we have a lot of respect for each other.
This is what referee John McCarthy later wrote in his autobiography, Let's Get It On.
Someone that took so much abuse by people that have no clue.
Yep.
Unfortunately, this night was the second time I felt I was refereeing a fixed bout. In the semifinals, Don Frye and Mark Hall met in a rematch of their UFC 10 bout. In their first encounter, Frye had beaten the piss out of Hall, who'd refused to give up.
Mark Hall was stronger today and quicker. What happened in Birmingham, Alabama, I just had a bad day of karma.
Here, though, Frye ankle-locked Hall to advance to the finals without breaking a sweat. The fight struck me as odd. Frye, a bread-and-butter wrestler and swing-for-the-fences puncher, had never won a fight by leg lock, and Hall practically fell into the submission. I also knew both fighters were managed by the same guy. In the tournament's final, Don met with the brute Tank Abbott, who has a reputation as someone who hits like a truck.
Holy shit, I remember your fight with Tank. What a fight that was. My God.
He hits hard.
He hits hard, yeah.
Although Abbott scored a knockdown in that bout, Frye's heart and endurance were more robust, and he quickly recovered. After surviving the storm caused by Tank, Don won that fight via rear naked choke.
Having Frye's foot. Frye trying to sink and choke. And that is it! Frye has won! The ultimate.
Dominantly winning the tournament.
Tank had an easy go. He had Cal Worson, who, God bless him, he had almost died at UFC 9 6 months earlier. Right?
Yeah.
At this point, Don Frye fought 11 times, winning all 10 of his victories by stoppage and only losing to the legend Mark Coleman. The fantastic thing about all this is that Frye managed to fight and earn those victories within a year. Although he announced that he would be retiring from MMA, Don returned the following year and made effortless work of Eric Valdez, finishing him via submission in only 49 seconds. After this victory, Don put his MMA career on hold and went to Japan to pursue a professional wrestling career. He debuted for New Japan Pro Wrestling in August 1997, defeating Kazuyuki Fujita in his first match. And by 1998, Frye began to rise in the ranks as he quickly became one of the company's lead heels. Nevertheless, he could not stay away from MMA and returned to action on September 24, 2001, at a Pride event against Gilbert Yvel. Frye won this fight in an unpopular way by DQ due to gouging the eyes.
Yep. And Don Frye, okay, that's it. That's it. Gilbert lost. Disqualification.
But he returned only 3 months later to remind everyone why he is a force to be reckoned with.
Gilbert's all down. We can do it again, brother. We can do it again. We can do it again.
In that bout, he faced the elite kickboxer Cyril Abidi, and the American was determined to prove to the kickboxer that transiting to MMA was not the most brilliant idea to do. Sure enough, he won that bout via rear naked choke in the second round. Ken Shamrock was the first fighter to survive Frye's pressure and see the judges' scorecards.
Ken Shamrock, he injured about 5 people. He put them out of the sport. You know, he crippled them.
These two MMA pioneers fought on Pride 19 in 2002, delivering one of the best fights in Pride FC history.
Come on,
After a back-and-forth battle for the ages, Don managed to edge his compatriot on the scorecards in a close, split-decision victory.
Judge Kobayashi, Don Frye.
That fight was an overture to the next Don's bout, which was arguably the craziest MMA fight of all time.
Ken Shamrock won this fight as much as I did. Great fight, Ken. You're a class act, sir. Thank you very much.
On June 23, 2002, Don Frye clashed with the Japanese wrestler Yoshihiro Takayama. This is the kind of fight you would show your friends if you want to introduce them to MMA. The first moment the fight started, both men went after each other, holding each other's necks while repeatedly punching each other in the face without anyone backing down. They fought like their lives depended on it, and the arena erupted. The people in attendance could not believe their eyes as both men continued beating each other mercilessly.
He didn't get the spin part down, so now Don is mounted on top of Takayama. Whoa, you can hear the man. Oh, there it is.
However, Don's pressure and cardio prevailed, and he managed to beat the Japanese fighter in a bloody battle for the ages.
Whoa, you can hear the punches.
Takayama's face was utterly destroyed at the end of the fight, and he could barely see from his eyes. Nevertheless, that fight was recognized as the fight of the year.
Even in losing. Oh, I think so too. I think that Gilbert improved so much, he's going to be very tough to beat now.
And he would always be remembered as the guy who went toe-to-toe against Don Frye, challenging him in a brawl unseen before. At this time, Don Frye held an impressive record of 15-1, and this is where his MMA career started to decline.
Secret. My game plan is to win without getting hurt.
As he was getting older and not even a shadow of his prime self, from 2002 to 2004, he lost 4 of his next 5 bouts while ending one of those fights in a draw. Nevertheless, he had a good run in 2006, earning victories against Akabono via guillotine choke and against Yoshihisa Yamamoto via rear naked choke. While scoring a KO victory versus Kim Min-soo. After this last successful MMA run, he fought 6 more times from 2007 until 2011, winning 2 while losing 4 bouts. When he retired from fighting, Frye earned the reputation of a fighter who fought with heart and courage while delivering highlights for the ages. His spectacular victories and finishing everyone he fought except for Ken Shamrock turned him into a fan favorite, and in 2016, he was introduced into the UFC Hall of Fame. Don Frye's appearance is similar to that of a Mortal Kombat character, hence he fits the criteria of a standard MMA fighter. He is the type of guy who values the traditional beliefs of what a real man should be about: strong, muscular, and manly. During a TV appearance, he praised the Russians as the last real men on the planet while complimenting their president.
Goddamn Russians are last men on the planet. You know, everybody in the U.S. been feminized so bad, we ought to be carrying a purse and high heels, you know? And those are the last men. We need a Putin. Where's our Putin?